Well, hey, we're going to jump into it today. We've got quite a bit to go into. There were some discussions on the Facebook where some people, and I'm going to always say the Facebook, so
just buckle up.
I'm mostly talking to you, Evan. Just you can give me whatever crap you want. I just don't care. I'm going to say the Facebook, just like I say the Walmart and the McDonald's. So those are. It's just what it is.
The McDonald's
for the rest of my life.
Okay.
But we were on the Facebook and we were scrolling through and noticed there was a post on there that had something interesting. We're going to dive into that here in a little bit. It's something that is a complete misunderstanding from what we've understood. Not to give too much away this early in the stream, but I think that we've debunked it. I really do, and I think there's ways to make sure that you have your stuff set up correctly. Well, we're going to jump into the meat today, and I've got an interesting little thing that I've seen. So I'm in quite a few Facebook groups for just short-term rental strategies specific to Airbnb, and there are always questions come up on, I can't believe that Airbnb has installed this this particular this policy or this thing, or we've missed this. I can't believe we've had 300 bookings and this is the first time I've seen this. They have to change this, and there's just always somebody griping on there. And then they get on this, like this one particular post from today, and this is not just a lone case. It seems to be like this every time. There are hundreds of comments on here and a lot of little angry emojis and people mashing that emoji on there saying, I can't believe this is the way it is. And they get on there and they rant and they rave. And these are Airbnb hosted Facebook pages. And I'm thinking, well, first of all, where's Airbnb in this? Like, they should have some rep in here dispelling these rumors. So since I don't see that, we're going to take a little bit of time today and we're going to thumb through it. We're going to work through maybe some safeguards, but also how you should set up your listing where you avoid this particular problem. So I'm going to jump over. Bear with me. Try not to be super shaky. This person says, so I have a guest that just arrived at 10 a.m. saying they are there to check in. I've never had this happen before. Check-in time is at 4 and clearly stated. I told him the current guests don't even check out until 11 a.m. and the maids arrive at noon and check-in is at 4. The guest is causing a big stink. Never had this happen before. Thoughts? And if you notice, 299 comments of all the experts in the short-term rental field coming to bat. This particular person said there is a drop-down menu when guests book, allowing guests to check time as early as 9 a.m., regardless of stated check-in time on listing. This is a huge problem. Airbnb needs to change this. Many future problems on guests and host side. I've contacted my local Airbnb ambassador, and she has submitted that this is a big issue. Please reach out to your Airbnb ambassadors or Airbnb directly. Power in numbers. They must take the drop-down menu. So this person is going on a tear, and they're not the only ones. There's a lot of people in this thread that I've read through probably 30 or 40 of the responses. Some of them are pretty level-headed.
This is probably just like a VRBO person who's trying to like amplify the outrage.
Yeah, beat down the competition. Yeah, so they're going in there, and most of them are saying, oh, well, if it clearly states that it's 4 o'clock check-in time, and then it's 10 a.m., they just say, please refer to my check-in policy. Yeah. Sorry. Because ultimately, what they're suggesting is that Airbnb has it set up to where you may have guests in there who check out at 11 a.m., but you have your next set of guests come in. Well, apparently there's some magical, mythical drop-down box somewhere when you're going to book your stay where if it's not, if they click 9 a.m., you're out of luck. You're going to have double people in there. Evan, what are your thoughts about that? Is Airbnb, are they just being, are they being mischievous and devious toward their hosts?
No, I don't think that they are. I don't know. And the one thing is that I can't find out is what these people exactly, like how their settings are set up. unless they send me some screenshots, I'm not able to coach them. But it's all in the settings. And so far from what I've seen in the original post and in this post is that they both say check-in time is clearly stated. How is it stated? Is it stated just in the description, check-in times at 4 p.m., or is it actually that the case in the settings when you go in and look at it? Because it is possible to allow your guests to check in at 9 a.m. if they wanted to. You can have the settings to allow that. And that would be silly, especially if you have checkout time at 11 and you have guests in the house. And, if there's a guest who wants to get there because you're flexible about the check-in time and they get there at 9 a.m. and you still have guests who are checking out at 11 a.m., then there's going to be overlap and people are going to be ticked. So
yeah,
I would just say, check your settings. Don't just type it in the description, because that's going to leave some ambiguity there and you're going to have some issues with overlap. As far as the settings go, Coy, do you want to go over that or you want me to?
So let's do this. So I am going to, I'm sharing my screen. This is my hosting page. So I don't think there's any kind of information necessarily that you need to see. I do have one booking here. So this is my listing. So whenever you go into to your Airbnb listing, Evan, direct me, as if I know nothing, direct me to where I need to go check out what settings I need to manage.
On the left side of your screen, there is a tab that says Info for Guests. Go ahead and click on that.
Right there.
Click on Info for Guests. Now, at the very, very top, there's pre-booking details, check-in window. So Coy's setting is to allow guests to check in between 4 p.m. and 12 a.m., which is cool. I mean, that's totally fine with that. So by these settings, this means that a guest cannot check in before 4 p.m. without the host's permission. And if they do, then and there's overlap, then that's on them. It's not on the host. This is how you state it in your listing details. You can't just write it in there and expect the guests to go through and read everything about your property. Not everybody's going to do that. But I do have time to read a summarized version of it. And if you have this in your settings, then what gets sent out to the guest is the summarized version, and it tells them when check-in is allowed. And so if you were to book Willow the Winnebago, then you would get an email with some check-in information saying check-in is after 4 p.m. and before 12 a.m. And Coy has it set before 12 a.m. because he doesn't want to get a call any later than 12 a.m. Saying I'm locked out of this, your property, I can't get in. So that's the case. And he probably is going to be asleep at 12 a.m. anyways. But I'd say this is going to be your best bet to make sure that you're not ever going to have any issues with overlap. Now, Coy, if you click on the drop down for the check-in time, select start time, and open up that drop down.
Which one? What are we?
The select start time drop down.
Oh, you can't see the live. I guess the live.
Okay. When you select that drop down, it apparently is not showing up right on Coy's screen, but it will come up with a list of options anytime you'd like, and you can change it to flexible. I'm willing to bet that this person and the person who commented at the very bottom, they probably had it set so that you could select a check-in time as early as 9 a.m. Whereas the original poster didn't have, they didn't give an additional time that they were allowed to start or whatever. But yeah, you can have it set so it's flexible, and that'll allow your guests to check in at whatever time they want. Now mine is set to check in. People can check in anytime after 3 p.m. And I don't care if they get there at 3 a.m. The following day.
So here's the truth. Like, most people are responsible human beings. Whenever they book something and they spend $500 or $600 or $1,000 or $2,000, they're going to read. That's a big investment, right? So they're going to read through all the fine print. They're going to go through all of your house rules. They're going to make sure that they can abide by those. They're going to thumb through it. So you might have had 100 bookings with no problems, and you may have had this set on flexible. Like, and if this is flexible, keep in mind, you don't have the bottom drop down right here. It doesn't, it just grays it out. So anybody can book that. And that's probably, my guess is on that Facebook post, the person who posted that, if they went in their settings, this is probably what they see. Select start time is flexible. And so as a courtesy to the homeowner, to the host, Airbnb is giving is mandating that the guest choose a check-in time. That way the host can be notified when they're going to get there. But all you have to do is change this to 4 p.m. on here and select an end time, which I would be okay with flexible, except for I'm not near it. So I'm not by that Airbnb. So it's hard for me to say, it would be difficult for me to manage anything in the middle of the night. So I like the 12 a.m., but that's just me personally. You may not care. You may live next door. It may be a shared space, whatever. But ultimately, I prefer to have that 12 a.m. cutoff. So don't come to the house unless you're going to talk to me well in advance and let me know something's going on.
Online it's totally customizable. You can
Right.
customize it however the heck you want. And that is how you do it. You got to do it in the settings. If you don't do it in the settings and you just type it into the description, Airbnb's website is not going to, it's not going to help, because the guests are going to be getting two different messages. They can read through and even see it in your description. But if they are given an option, because you haven't changed the settings from flexible to an actual check-in window, then the guest may think, wow, this is an outdated description or whatever. Maybe they changed the rules and they forgot to change the description, and now this is the most up-to-date version of the rules. I don't know. But I'm just saying, if you go through and you try to book right now, one of the like my property, if you tried to book one like mine, then you will not be able to have a drop-down option to select an earlier time than 3 p.m. to check in.
Let's do it. Let's just give it a shot. So forgive me. I know this is making my screen shaky, but I'm going to select check-in date Thursday, Friday of May for Watson, Oklahoma. Search. So this is super fun. This is my dad's listing. This is my listing. Both of those are on site there in Watson, Oklahoma. So I'm going to click on his. So scrolling down, you got these beautiful pictures. You've got the description here. You can scroll down, read about the property, read about the area, guest access, and then when you scroll on down, you can see amenities, reviews, location, more reviews. Boom. Things to know. Check in after 3 p.m. Check out 11 a.m. Self check-in with the pad. You can go and click that. You can read all the rest of their stuff, but you cannot. There is no Dropbox.
No Dropbox make here. A reservation just before you see if there's any drop down options when going through the.
Yeah, so we'll click on reserve for those dates. 2 guests. It's available. I go in here and I'm not seeing any Dropbox.
I don't see anything regarding check-in time. Period.
Not selecting any kind of check-in times. So I would imagine
in this you got to pay for it, but there's not any way to change the check-in time based on these settings. I wonder what would happen if we changed it so that it was flexible. I don't know. Maybe we can just do that real quick. There, setting is changed. Refresh the page and try it again and see what happens. Okay, so this one is now set as flexible. I can tell you that. It was not before, but I
dates
have the power.
Reserve, come in.
Pay in full.
There's still no way to do that on here. Now I didn't refresh.
Edit dates, maybe. Yeah. Okay, so you've refreshed. Go to edit dates.
There's no check-in times. So
nothing even remotely close to listed check-in time.
Not seeing check-in time boxes. Now I could go in and pay for that. I don't want to. And then cancel it. That doesn't help. That doesn't help the listing. So we don't want to do that. So if you have had that issue, if you've seen that, then do us a favor, screenshot it, because I don't see it anywhere. And we've looked.
I would love to see us debunked, but as of right now, I'm officially giving this the stamp debunked. And yeah, it's not an issue that is Airbnb's policies or anything like that. It is not how their system is set up. Their system is set up so that you can go and change the check-in start and end time to be whatever you want, as long as it's an actual time.
Yeah, as long as the settings in your listing are properly done, there's no way for a guest to override that.
Yeah,
there's Airbnb is not going to set you up for failure. So here's just a good I don't know what the word is, but here's a metric. If there's an issue that you have as a host, think if the thought is Airbnb trying to mess me up as a host and set me up for failure?
That's a good core question to ask yourself.
If the answer is ever yes to that, then you have more work to do, because it's probably in your settings somewhere. Airbnb is not in the business to mess over their hosts. That's just not their game.
So what do you do when there is something that's like, oh my gosh, yeah, this is a big, huge thing? Like Coy sent me this the other day, and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, that is a terrible thing. And I went and I looked at it, and you know what I did? I called my Superhost ambassador, and I asked them, and they explained me and walked me right through all the steps that we just walked you through, and you can't change it. Now, could the ambassador have been wrong or had some outdated information? Sure, yeah, maybe. But then what did I do? We went and tested it ourselves, and we're still not able to figure that out. We've asked the person who made the complaint to give us a screenshot so that maybe we can find it. The bottom line is, don't just accept what other people and feed off of the whatever fear or uncertainty or just the misinformation and go and just make decisions based on something that you haven't been able to confirm yourself yet. Yeah, because that's just not gonna work. It's not gonna work for anybody. So
always do your own due diligence, and at the end of the day, if you want your business to be as successful as it can be, you have to know the inside and out perfectly of your listing. You got to know Airbnb. You have to thumb through the settings. You have to make sure that it's set up correctly, but also just know what's available to you. There's so many different little features and things in there, and they're changing it constantly. So they're adding new things to help guests and help hosts. And if you're not up to speed on that, if you're not digging into your listing, at least every other week or every month, you're missing out on number one, making sure your listing is set up properly, but also just making sure that you're optimizing your listing so you can make the most money. Ultimately, we're all in this to make an income, to have passive income, whatever, but have this property be an investment for you. And if you're having to constantly work at it and put out fires and untangle messes, it's just a headache. And we don't want that for you. We want it to be streamlined and easy.